Namaste and welcome to Alpha Mind Powers channel. Today I am going to talk about the next online class that is coming up, which is Soulmate. It's a very interesting subject and a lot is being said about this particular topic. And there is a myth that you need to marry only your soulmate. And I have seen people not consenting for marriage, waiting to find the soulmate. When you ask them, why aren't you still married? Are you looking out for a person? Then they say, no, I'm waiting for my soulmate. I'm waiting to find the right person who will be my soulmate. So whether this concept is right or not, let us just look into that. First of all, who is a soulmate? That is the most important question. A soulmate is not a person, it is a soul with which you are familiar. That is how I would describe it. Because if you look at it, in your own life, if you look back, there would have been occasions when you meet somebody for the first time and you suddenly feel very familiar with that person. And that person also may say the same thing. He or she may say, I feel as if I've known you all my life. Now, what does that mean? But you have never met in this life before that. So what it really means is that somewhere the two souls, that is your soul and the other person's soul, have traveled together in some other previous life. So when you meet a soul like that who has been with you for some time somewhere, then you feel that familiarity, you feel that acceptance coming immediately. You do not feel that you're with a stranger. You do not feel that you're meeting the person for the first time. So that is how you recognize a soulmate. How do you recognize a soulmate? There is no other symptom or nobody who can tell us that this is your soulmate, but it's your own feeling. You feel familiar with a person without actually knowing them for a long time, and you feel very comfortable with that person because it's a known soul. So that kind of feeling all of us have felt with someone or the other in our life. But the concept of waiting for a soulmate so that you can marry that person, whether that is the right thing to do or not, that is a question. Of course, if you can marry a soulmate, that will be the best thing because that familiarity is there, the acceptance is there, and many marriages are failing or they're becoming a question mark only because the acceptance is not there and the bonding is not created. But here, when the two souls already feel familiar with each other, the bonding is immediate. So if you can find a soulmate and get married to that person who you feel is your soulmate, then the marriage will be much better, more successful. Married life will be more enjoyable and you will feel more secure in the marriage. So you do not have to worry about what is going to happen. All this is very, very true. But again, now in this life you marry somebody and you live a very good life and you feel that you have found your soulmate, all that is fine. But what about the so many other people with whom you have been associating in this life? They are all your soulmates for the next coming lives, for the future lives that you may have. So there, when you go to your next life and you feel familiar, it's not going to be only with your spouse who has lived with you in this life. It's going to be with your mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, friend, relative, anybody. And in some of my other videos about soulmate, I have spoken about how when I did some past life regression for a few people for my own study many years back, there was one lady who remembered one of her past lives very vividly. She said she was a queen, a Maharani in one of the cities in India. She couldn't recall the name of the place, but she said, I'm a Maharani, and the king was going to fight a battle, and she said she was getting things ready for him. And finally they lost the battle, and when the news came, she tried to hide in the palace with some of her assistants, some girls. But once they knew that the enemies, those days when you win a war, then the first thing you do is you capture the other king's city, which means you capture the women there, you take away all the wealth that is there, everything is done. A lot of damage is done. So to protect themselves from those people, those men, this queen and her associates, they all tried to hide in the palace, but those enemies came and found them out, dragged them into the main hall and started torturing them. So she said one of those fellow soldiers, he had a spear, and when she fell down on the floor, he put that spear into her stomach. He pierced her stomach with the spear, and when she said that, I was doing this therapy for her, and when she said that, she started screaming in agony with excruciating pain, as if she was going through that pain again. And I just let her be for some time, and then once again when she became a little silent, when I asked her what has happened, then she explained how she got up from there, and with a bleeding stomach she ran away from there and somehow managed to reach some other village near a temple where a lot of beggars were sitting, and she sat down with those beggars like a beggar. They didn't know she was the queen because she was in a different dress, and she spent the rest of her life there. So all this she explained in a trance state. And the best part is, the highlight is, after the whole therapy was over, it's like a meditation, the whole thing was over, I brought her out of it, and then when I asked her, how are you feeling? She almost burst into tears. She said, you know, there was a question in my mind for so many years. Today I got the answer. What was the answer? She lifted her shirt and showed me the left side of her stomach. She said, you should look at this scar. There was a proper scar there, as if something had pierced her stomach. And when she was screaming in pain during the meditation also, she was holding on to the left side of her stomach. So she said, I was born with this scar. And when she was born, of course, it was a tiny scar, but as she grew up, the scar also became bigger. And she said, my parents always used to mention that, you know, how can a newborn child have a scar? But this scar was there. And today she showed it, and on that day she showed it and said, I've always been asking myself, you know, why do I have this scar? At the time of birth, it's not a birth mark, it's a proper scar. She said, I got the answer today because this spear pierced my stomach in that particular spot. And she said she spent the rest of her life without that wound healing completely at all. Again and again it was opening up, and then finally she died in agony. That's what she explained. So she said, now I understand why the scar. So this past life thing is true. That is how we understand, because not only this, if you read books by Brian Weiss and many other masters, you know, there are so many people who are doing this therapy and finding people who are able to remember other past lives. Not everyone can remember, but some people do. Now the point I really wanted to tell you here about, explain to you here is, after all this, there's one question which we generally ask when we do a past life regression. So I asked her, can you recognize anyone from that life now in this life? Can you feel that there's a connection? She said, yes. Who is it? Then she said, the person who was the Maharaja in that life, that is her husband. In this life, he is my son. I could make out from the eyes. She said, I could feel that connection very well. And she said, that is why I'm crazy about my son. She said, all mothers are crazy about their sons, daughters, etc. But she said, I'm absolutely crazy. Now I know the reason. Because he was my husband, my spouse in some previous birth. And now he has come as my son. So I just go all out to do anything for him. So when you look at this, that's a soulmate, right? She traveled, her soul and her husband's soul, the husband in the previous birth. These two souls traveled together, and that life got over. Now in this life, they are again traveling together as mother and son. So relationships can change with soulmates. That is what we need to understand. So somebody who was a spouse in one life can become a son in another life. This is what I really saw when I did this therapy for somebody. So going by this, and there are many other examples like this, we can understand that a soulmate need not always come back as a spouse, or a spouse need not always come back as a spouse in another life, but he can be a soulmate with a different kind of relationship. So looking at this and going by this, we must understand that it's not one soulmate that we all have. We have many soulmates because we travel with so many people in every life, and some of them are close to us. They are very friendly, or somewhere, you feel a bonding with them. So once that life is over, and then later on the souls meet in another life, then they become soulmates, whether they get married or not. So marriage is not the only way to unite with a soulmate. You can be very friendly also. One example I will like to quote here. There was one counseling session a few years back when a lady spoke to me, and she told me about her background. She has a very nice family, husband and a small child, about 3-4 year old child. Both of them are working. She was also working in a corporate concern in a very good position. Now she says, a new officer has come to that office where she's working, who is in an equal position as her, and she said, but he's so intelligent, so smart. Somehow I'm feeling so drawn towards him. She said, I think I will go over the line. I'm afraid I might cross the line. Because she says that person also is responding to me so well. So even when we look at each other, we feel that connection. But she said, I am very happy with my husband. I do not have any problem with my marriage. He's one of the best people, best husband I could have ever thought of. Nobody else could have filled that place. So he's a very nice person. So I have no reason to look out for another person or to have an affair or anything. So she was regretting that she was feeling attracted towards another person. And she thought it was love. She thought it might land up as an affair. Then I explained to her that it need not be like that. If you are attracted to some person and that person also responds to you in this life, it does not mean you have to marry him or you have to become lovers or you need to have an affair. It's not like that at all. It simply means these two souls have met earlier. That person may be your soulmate, and that is why you feel that familiar feeling and that bonding. So the subject is very, very interesting, and in this online class we will be talking a lot more about soulmate and how to recognize them and all that. So I invite you to participate in the class, and let's have a wonderful time with soulmate class. See you there.